Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an axe named HantaVirus, titled ayer, Los recuerdos suenan alto. And if we switch over to here, this is in Spanish. My Spanish is very, 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 very rusty. Yeah, like, I remembered ayer as being like yesterday, and recuerdos is being Google Translate is saying the memories sound high. Yesterday the memories sound high, but that doesn't sound entirely correct. But anyways, we're gonna listen through this track from start to finish, and we're gonna hear what we think. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh, a nice intro with the automated volume. Cool synth stuff. Oh. Nice combination of the acoustic drums with these sort of dubstepish synthy elements. It sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest. It's filthy, isn't it? It's filthy. It's so heavy. I love the sound of the drums. The drums do sound a bit quiet in the mix. Or that could just be because they're trying to balance so many different things, like all these different synth sounds and pad parts and the guitars and the bass and drums and everything. It still sounds like it was mixed well. I can hear everything clearly, and it's got a great sort of overall texture and tone to it. Oh, sick! I wasn't expecting this. There's a great attitude to this. I love the dexterity and skill shown with these rhythm guitar and drum parts. Getting those pinch harmonics off of those sort of palm muted alternates picked parts. That's not an easy thing to do, but they managed to nail it with those chugs there. And the drums, those double kicks are so quick. It's so elegant, man. It's such a shift from what we had at the start. But I love the contrast. Sounds like we're going through a real journey, you know what I mean? I would probably listen to this outside of these reviews, to be honest. Oh, we're back to this. Oh man, that's fun. Bringing that pace down a little bit just for a change, you know, like we had the kind of the galloping going on before. And then we've got this halftime, almost breakdownish sort of groove to the it's a development of the original theme we had. Nice repeater there on the vocals. I'm digging this actually. I quite like this. I'm gonna give this a like, dude. Dude, the vocals sit so well with the guitar and drums, both in terms of like the style of vocals, but also the guy is just got a great vocal texture. The vocal fry and the kind of the intensity of it is so welcome. Oh, those ride bells. These whispers are fun as well. Like there's just this little bit of change and difference between these verse and chorus sections. You know, we're going back to those different sort of musical motifs we had instantiated in the instrumental sections, which I like. I like the return to that. Kind of a cool response between the whispers and the vocals, actually. I think that's quite a fun idea, and I think that HantaVirus pulled that out really well. Again, like my Spanish is way too rusty for me to be able to pick this up fluently, but the bits I'm getting are very, very interesting. It sounds really or stylistically cohesive. I'm really enjoying my time with it. Oh, those fills are so decent. Excellent transition there. Great snare sound sample. I'm wondering if that's got a mixture of like, it sounds like it was recorded raw, but like it wouldn't surprise me if there was like bits of samples thrown in somewhere. Just these, the drummer is pocketing right now. He is totally in the flow of the zone, keeping the groove for the other instruments. Really, I think, you know, the vocals along with the drummer are what make this band. The guitarist is sick, and I'm looking forward to what else they do there. They're so comfortable with this thrash metal kind of vibe they got going. Reminds me of the 80s bands. Okay, I'm familiar with what we've got so far. Great. It sounds professional. It sounds like they are signed. It sounds like a signed band who's going through a label, and they sound like they're ready for the big time, man. No joke. I can see these guys being just as fantastic live as they are in the studio. Great energy to their music overall. There is a similar kind of level of energy throughout this track, you know. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing to carry it this well. I'll be looking forward to see what the last third of this track, has in store for us, though. Go back to that hook. We're really comfortable with that riff there with those power chords. We should be changing at some point soon. We should be. That chaos there that's coming from this vocal section is so visceral, and it keeps the song interesting while we've got these similar sort of themes repeated. I want to hear some stuff in the mid to highs from the guitars or something though. That sub drop was a smart choice there. I dig that. I'm hoping we're gonna have a solo or something like that. You know, when you've got a track that's like 5:41, you got time for a solo. You got real estate for that. Even if it's a bass solo or a drum solo or something like that, you know, but usually it's a guitar solo. Might even be keys, I don't know. Great choice. Good job having the two different vocal styles here. We didn't get quite the change that I was expecting that we would at this point. We're really comfortable with a few of these different rhythmic themes we have here with these chord progressions and bass lines. But having those changes again with the two different vocal parts, you know, one on either side, along with the intensity and increase of the 16th note double kicks is a smart move. Yeah, and I'm happy with that. So like, I suppose this is the conclusion to El ayer, los recuerdos, suenan alto. Forgive my atrocity of a pronunciation there. I'm genuinely trying. I'm not trying to take the piss. I think this is a great track. I think that HantaVirus, you know, again for this conclusion, I legitimately think that these guys they should be they ought to be very proud of themselves for what they managed to accomplish here with this song. Given the single art that we have here, I am led to believe that this could have been about a relationship that passed or something like that, thinking it back on the memories and the struggles associated. Maybe it didn't go very well, or maybe it did and it was cut short too soon or something. Maybe we're thinking back on these memories in less desirable situations. I heard something about sacrifice at some point. So I'm wondering if like something was sacrificed for the sake of a relationship, or maybe there was just something terrible that came of it. I'm not sure. So I'm not entirely sure about what the song is about, but the intensity, the ferocity of the vocals insinuates to me that it wasn't necessarily a great time for everyone involved. There may have been some less desirable outcomes to it. And I think that at the end of the day, this was by no means done in a way that was really cheesy or anything like that. I think that it came across as a really authentic vocal performance from a singer. Definitely knew how to work within his range, knew how to increase and take away the intensity of the vocal fry and the growls and stuff like that. He knew when to put the different styles of vocalization. Like we had the whispers at some parts, we had the growls at some parts, we had the clean parts, and we had the sort of the chorus vocals there. So there was a lot happening in that part of the track, which I can appreciate. In terms of the structure of the song, we had a massive instrumental intro, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and we had these interesting synth parts, which I felt we maybe could have introduced later on at the end or something like that. It feels like a shame that we didn't sort of explore more of that in the later part of the song, but just for the sake of we had all this stuff happening and the low, the mids, and the frequency spectrum, and we were familiar at that point with the guitar and the vocal parts. That it would have been nice to maybe have some stuff in the end to kind of level it out with the way we entered, but that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You could argue there was more of a digital element that went more into the analog acoustic, so like the electric, the kind of thrashy kind of middle that we had here. And in a way, it's kind of refreshing to not just have a guitar solo thrown in there or something like that. I think the song carries itself well enough on its own. And we know that the instrumentalists in this band can play, because even when they weren't doing like really crazy solos or anything like that, just the riffs that they were playing and the percussive rhythmic patterns there and these changes between time signatures and tempos were just so effortless, you know? It really displays a firm understanding of composition and songwriting, as well as the importance of really knowing your stuff before you go into a studio. And HantaVirus are one of those bands where I feel like they really knew, they had worked their asses off to get to the point where they are, and I'm really blown away by their work. They've got 2 tracks that have been released this year. I can see Estocolmo and El ayer. I think that, given the impression I have from this first one, that I can trust that Estocolmo will be just as good. Don't know what to say, man. It's just a phenomenal first impression. You know, there were 3 main parts that were sort of instantiated at the beginning instrumentally, and then with the vocals later on, and we were really sticking to those different elements. We were really firm on needing to not change up those key harmonic ideas too much. The drummer really loved working with the cymbals as well as the other parts of the kit. Very explorative, like with the tom fills and the different grooves and like the different sort of mix-ups and break beats going on with the like crashes and chinas and stuff like that. The bass player, I could definitely hear them in there. They were following the root notes and what the rhythm guitars I think were thinking most of the time. They were very supportive, the bedrock of the band, and you can't get by without a good bassist. So well done to him. Oh, well done to them, actually. I don't know who's in the band, but I'm really pleased with that. Finally, the recording, mixing and mastering was sensational. It sounds like something that could have been written, again, back in the heydays of thrash metal in like the 80s. And today, it's got modern production quality, but it's not sterilized or anything like that. It sounds fresh, and it was really interesting to listen to. It's professional quality. The EQing and stereo padding of different instruments, the way it was produced and the way it was stacked and arranged and everything was great. I've got no real complaints about anything that I heard, like limiting compression wise. The actual musical performances were actually sensational. I didn't hear a single note out of place, and even if it was, I don't think it needed to change. Yeah, it's a glowing positive review. I don't always give out positive reviews, especially on the first impressions of a track, but well done to HantaVirus with ayer, los recuerdos, suenan alto. I wish them best of luck in future. Very pleased with this song. Good stuff. And that was effectively my review of HantaVirus' track, ayer, los recuerdos, suenan alto. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you did, please do go show this band some love via the various social medias and the Spotify page. I think they also have a YouTube as well. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.